The Bee Gees was a disco-pop group comprised of three real-life brothers. With the exception of a brief period when the band broke up in the early 70s, these brothers were inseparable throughout most of their lives. Today, Barry Gibb is the last surviving member. Join Faxverse as he speaks out on losing his brothers. In 2020, the documentary The Bee Gees: How Can You Mend a Broken Heart was released. It featured participation from last surviving band member Barry Gibb, and it served as a tribute for fans to the power of the band. For Barry, the filming of the documentary wasn't easy. The band was comprised of Barry and his two brothers, with the name of the band being a clever play on The Brothers Gibb. As it turns out, Barry has never gotten over the passing of his former bandmates. Filming the recent HBO documentary forced the musician to reopen wounds that had still yet to heal, and this is the reason Barry claims he's never going to watch the movie himself. Barry and his brothers first started playing together in the 1950s. At that point, they called their band the Rattlesnakes. In the 60s, they changed the name to the Bee Gees. Casual fans may not know that the band hails from Australia, as it was there that it found its first success. As compared to the disco-based sound that the band would help pioneer during the 70s, the Bee Gees made Beatles-esque pop during the early years. Around the time the 70s rolled around, two of the brothers comprising the Bee Gees stopped getting along, Barry and Robin. The story goes that both Barry and Robin felt that they were deserving of being the sole leader. In terms of talent, both musicians were relatively equal during their heyday, but the bickering got to be so bad Robin left the band during the early 70s. After leaving, he tried to start a solo career while his two brothers carried on the band. Robin's bid was unsuccessful, and his brothers weren't having a whole lot of luck without him. In 1975, the brothers reconciled and the band reformed. The Bee Gees broke up in the early 70s. During the period that the Bee Gees broke up, Barry and Robin refused to talk to each other. They passed along messages to one another through third brother and band member Maurice, and he resented being the medium between his two feuding siblings. Barry and Robin had also bad-mouthed each other in the media as much as possible. When the brothers got back together, it was a pleasant surprise for those who had been following their rise as a pop group. When they did get back together, they weren't the same popular music group that had risen to success in the 60s. They jumped on the bandwagon of the rising trend that was disco. The band came to define the musical movement when they soundtracked the 1978 film Saturday Night Fever. The film featured John Travolta and followed his character trying to become a star disco dancer. When the movie was released, the lifestyle was foreign to many audience members, but they liked what they saw. From there, the band remained active until the first member's passing in the new millennium. In addition to the three Gibb brothers comprising the band, there was a fourth Gibb who made a name for himself as a pop musician. They had a younger brother named Andy, and he followed in his older brother's footsteps not long after they struck disco stardom. Andy first came on the scene in the late 70s, and his time as a popular musician lasted into the following decade. Sadly, both his career and life were cut short towards the decade's end. In 1988, Andy died as a result of a drug overdose. The younger Gibb brother had struggled with substance abuse issues throughout much of his life, particularly after his rise to fame. At the time of his death, he was only 30. The death affected all three members of the Bee Gees, though they were never quite as close to Andy as they were to each other. The Bee Gees stayed alive for a long time. The Bee Gees peaked during the disco days, but the band kept on chugging along into the new millennium. When the first of its members died in 2002, many didn't even know they were still around. However, there were plenty of die-hard fans who never stopped buying the group's new releases. The first member to die was Maurice. He died of a heart attack and he was 53 at the time. Thankfully, surviving brothers Barry and Robin no longer needed a medium in order to communicate. The brothers remained in good terms in the final years and didn't have any notable feuds after their early 70s breakup. Robin was the next member of the Bee Gees to go. He passed away in 2012 from cancer at age 62. With this, Barry was forced to accept that he was the last surviving Gibb brother. Even after a decade, he's still having trouble accomplishing this. According to Barry, he still has a hard time believing that his brothers aren't with him anymore. He claims he still wonders what his brothers would think about things, and it feels like they're with him in his heart. The three brothers comprising the Bee Gees had spent most of their lives together, with the exception of the year and a half when Barry and Robin didn't talk. Barry says he's lonely, but that music helps. There were many who didn't expect the Bee Gees to make it past the death of disco. Not only did the band continue to function well after disco lost its popularity, but the band's music has also managed to avoid the stigma that has come to be associated with many disco hits of the past. Even at times when it's been cool to hate on disco, it's rarely been cool to hate on the Bee Gees. The three members of the band were passionate about the music they made, regardless of the genre they were dabbling in. After their disco days, they continued to experiment with genres. Barry Gibb continues to play music into his 70s. The Bee Gees were unquestionably one of the most popular groups of the disco era, with the group amassing a staggering total of 9 number-one singles on the Billboard Hot 100 during their heyday. Many of these singles came from the aforementioned soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever. The band's most successful single was How Deep Is Your Love, which spent 33 weeks on the charts. But the tune of the bands that has inarguably lived on the most in popular culture is Stayin' Alive. The release of the Bee Gees' How Can You Mend a Broken Heart on HBO in 2020 only proved that the Bee Gees are a musical group that's never going to fade away. Even if there's only one surviving member of the band left, the music that the group made will never go away. One might imagine that watching the documentary might be therapeutic for Barry Gibb, but it doesn't seem like this is the case. On the contrary, Barry is adamant that he's never going to watch the documentary that he was so willing to participate in. According to him, it would simply be too painful for him to see his brothers and remember that they're no longer with him. After Robin died in 2012, Barry suffered a nervous breakdown that caused him to hide away from the public for several years. The musician eventually realized that there was no use in hiding away. Today, Barry Gibb is still making music. Music seems to be the only thing that keeps the man happy, even if he'd prefer to be making it with his late brothers. Barry still performs, and he recently released an album featuring country renditions of many of the most famous Bee Gees songs. Released in January of 2021, the album is titled Greenfields, The Gibb Brothers Songbook, Volume 1. In addition to Barry, numerous notable country stars also worked on the album. Some of the many artists featured include Dolly Parton and Miranda Lambert, lending plenty of country credibility to Barry's musical pet project. Barry is currently 76 years old, and it seems like he's got plenty of energy still. Barry Gibb may miss his brothers, but making music certainly helps him take his mind off the pain. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that Barry Gibb refuses to watch the recently released Bee Gees documentary and that he made a country album in 2021? Let us know in the comments section below.